Hey everybody, we usually would not be making a video like this, but there is information circulating about us that is completely untrue. So we just wanted to set the record straight, clear the air, because we take our role as parents extremely seriously. Where this whole controversy started, I guess, is a few days ago, Abby posted on her Instagram story that we were at dinner FaceTiming the baby monitors while our children were asleep in their staterooms. And people started to speculate and believe that we had left our children alone in their staterooms. And that is just completely untrue.
I can see where my story did lead to misunderstanding, which is why I ended up deleting it. I do want to clarify that we have not, would not, will not ever leave our children unattended. We would never ever want to put them in harm's way in any way.
Nobody with a brain in their head, okay, with two brain cells to rub together, believes what their video just said.
TikTok's Matt and Abby Howard are facing criticism for leaving their 1- and 2-year-old sons alone in their room on a cruise.
What's up, dudes?
I think there's 2 major instances online where we have gotten officially canceled.
Don't be fooled by me picking up my house because I'm not typically the one that does it. And don't be fooled by me taking care of my son because most of the time my wife doesn't have to.
Is being intimate the same after pregnancy?
No. It's not.
It just sucked to get on TikTok and like the second I get on TikTok it'd be a video about me.
Yeah, that
and
sucks.
Someone just like roasting me, like video after video roasting me.
This is super embarrassing, but I've been sleeping in our walk-in closet for the past month. Secret's out, I sleep in the closet.
I mean, because it's happened more than once.
Yeah.
This whole getting canceled online, and I feel like it's been sprinkled with lots of mini cancellations, you know?
Being a parent is hard work. I don't think there's anyone in this world who would disagree with that. And sometimes parents need a freaking break. So when family vloggers Matt and Abby Howard took their 2 kids on a cruise,
We don't like to call ourselves cheap. We are frugal. We appreciate value.
they were shocked to find themselves on the receiving end of a lot of hate for seeking some kid-free time.
Cheers to a long and healthy marriage.
Cheers to a long and healthy marriage.
You're here.
Only the thing is, their kid-free time also was allegedly childcare free time because it appeared they left their very young sleeping children in 2 separate cabins unattended with only FaceTime to monitor them. And when they were allegedly caught because they posted about it, the story seemed to change as quickly as the weather on the high seas. But this isn't Matt and Abby's first alarming red flag to a lot of the public. So let's zoom out to see the entire Matt and Abby story. And this is what we know. In 2020, when scrolling the internet was the only thing people were allowed to do during lockdown, the algorithm cracked in two. Now, if you didn't land on Addison Rae's side of TikTok, chances were that you landed on Matt and Abby Howard's side of the internet. A young, conventionally attractive by Eurocentric standards couple, seemingly wholesome couple, newly married, religious of sorts, but living in Hawaii like a lot of the Mormon influencers did at the time, which is something that I did not know was a thing.
What's the most embarrassing / funny story from your years as a couple?
This one's so embarrassing.
Tell me, what is it? Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Instead of flirty dancing and lip syncing TikTok, they played cute pranks on each other and shared workout videos and snippets of their life, and people ate that up.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. We are so happy that you are here. We are Matt and Abby, and today we are doing a get to know us video, a Q&A, and we're super excited.
So the couple eventually bought a house in Phoenix, Arizona with all that, glamorous TikTok money. And after Abby announced her pregnancy, her parents literally moved across to the country to move in with them to help with the baby. This was Abby's dream come true. But as their channel blew up, it was the tone of the videos, the perceived husband undermining his wife, and her being just kind of undercut at a lot of different ways, and the subtle appearance of rage baiting that had people starting to question the presentation of this seemingly very happy-go-lucky couple. But first, oh hi there, hello, hi, it's my face again, Swoop! If you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. My name is Swoop and I'm a documentary filmmaker, commentary creator, and I make what we call Swoop docs on complex stories, true crime, and social media influencers who abuse their power and manipulate audiences because, as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. But sometimes it might be a little overblown. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. We emphasize critical thinking here and also present different perspectives. We play devil's advocate, and sometimes sometimes, depending on my mood, we take it to Petty University. And we'll see where this story goes. My class could be in session at any moment. I don't know. I also have a second channel called Swoop 2 where we take mini dips into whatever the hell I want to talk about. Here we deep dive, there we dip. And you can also join our Patreon community for exclusive access to the extended episodes and videos that I can't post on this platform. All of that is linked in the description. Okay, we're gonna get into this story, but real quick, can we talk about how busy this year has been so far? Like, seriously, there's always a million things to do. There's never enough time, and I'm exhausted. And sometimes the last thing I have time for at the end of the day is all of the trips to the grocery store, which is where Hungry Root comes in. So a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Hungry Root. I love their service, and I think you will too. Hungry Root is like having your own personal shopper for all things food and healthy eating. You know how you have those times where like internally you're just like, someone else do this for me. Okay, just get it done. Can someone just deal with it? Yeah, that's when the joy of Hungry Root comes in. They take care of the weekly grocery shopping, recommended healthy groceries tailored to your personal tastes, nutritional preferences, and health goals, so you don't have to, honey. Y'all, when the Hungry Root box arrived, I was so freaking excited, and I was honestly shocked at how much food they packed in there. Like, seriously. And the variety was incredible. There were pre-marinated meats and chickens, fruits and veggies, grains, sauces, snacks. I got pitas and protein-packed foods, cheeses, deli meats, yogurts, shrimp, scampi, seasoning. So the first night I chopped up a bunch of veggies and sauteed them and added the ready-to-go chicken and topped it off with this tangy black pepper sauce. And oh my gosh, this was seriously one of the best dishes that I've ever cooked. And I suck at cooking, and this was amazing. I also got the most delicious desserts that I've never tried before. The carrot cake cookies, definitely getting those again. Hungry Root makes it so easy to eat high quality, nutritious foods and keep you aligned with your health goals. They got you covered from anti-inflammatory to gut-friendly, gluten-free or dairy-free, high protein. They've got your back and your belly. All you have to do is tell them about your goals and preferences, and they fill your cart for you with personalized recommendations that get smarter as they learn more about what you liked or what you didn't love, and I love that for us. It's perfect for the whole family with healthy groceries like ready-to-eat meals, salad kits, kids snacks. There is no high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, or preservatives in any of Hungry Root's foods. They only source top quality meat and seafood free of hormones and antibiotics, so you can feel good about what you're eating. So if you want the joy of skipping the grocery store and having the most amazing, healthy, delicious foods delivered right to your door, Hungry Root is the vibe. Tap my link below and take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use code SWOOP. That's 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com with code SWOOP, and treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. Okay, let's dive in. As we move through the story, I'd like to propose a question to think about as we, dive again into the world of family vlogging. I'm gonna be approaching this story a little bit different than sometimes I do other stories. So we are seeing many young adults who grew up as kids in family vlogging households, and they've grown up and they're now speaking out against family vlogging, calling it unethical, with incredibly important messages about protecting kids and consent. Sherry Frankie, the daughter of Ruby Frankie from the 8 Passengers channel, has released a book. Highly recommend supporting her. And in the same breath, on the other side of it, as you can imagine, because there's like these channels are pulling in millions of views, there are a lot of people who don't think that it's unethical, that they think family vlogging is perfectly fine. Family vlogging pulls in hundreds of millions of views across all social media. So I have the question, why? I'm gonna put aside some of my opinions, I'll still be sharing them, but some of my opinions on this topic here and there, and ask a lot of questions today. Questions like, why is there not a wide consensus of opinion on family vlogging? Should it all be banned? What is the benchmark for who to ban? Is it based on the size of the platform? Is a mother posting cute photos of her kids on Instagram always a problem? Millions of people do that every day, and people who aren't even content creators do that all the time. And what happens if a family vlogger vlogs about their family life, talking about their kids, but don't show their kids in the content? Is that okay? Or is that a problem? And I think that we need to have more of a conversation about that. So that's what we're gonna do today. So Matt and Abby first met in St. Louis, Missouri, St. Louis, at the theater camp in 8th grade, because there is nothing cooler than a preteen theater kid.
The theater kids are kind of cringe, if you will.
Congratulations, Jake Doolittle just called you cringe.
I think you've gotten more attractive since we started dating.
You know, I will agree with that.
Yeah, I think you're very hot.
I also was a child when we started dating.
Yeah. Can we just dude, we should throw up a picture.
They ended up dating long distance during high school, which I'm going to be real. When I first heard that, I thought, wow, this kind of sounds like, like one of those tall tales you tell when you're really young. When you get home from summer camp, and you're like, no, I swear I do have a girlfriend. She just lives in Illinois. But in Matt's case, that was true. And the relationship lasted all throughout high school. Think about that. This is very likely the only relationship that either of these two have ever had in their whole life.
Throw a picture of us when we first started dating. We were children.
Be honest with me.
We were children.
I feel like my face has slimmed down a little bit. I had kid chubby cheeks.
I mean, you still got chubby cheeks, to be honest. They're so cute. They're cute though. I like them. They're cute.
So I guess the long distance came in handy because they're described as fundy light, meaning Matt was raised Lutheran and both are big believers, especially in abstinence before marriage. And if you're never together, then abstinence is probably pretty easy, right?
When it comes to waiting till marriage, were you nervous for the wedding night?
I was not nervous at all.
And then it lasted 3 minutes.
Shut up.
But the two came together. Not like that, okay? Get your head out of the gutter. They came together when they reunited for college at Missouri State University, where they both initially declared as acting majors and then later changed to finance for Matt and education for Abby, which is, probably what a worrisome parent wishes their children did with their liberal arts degree. So honestly, good for anyone in this economy who has the balls to even try to go to college and come out without student debt requiring you to donate a vital organ to pay it back. The couple got engaged at Disney World, of course, and tied the knot during their sophomore year in 2019. That's not shade for anyone getting engaged at Disney World, okay? If it makes you happy, do it. Matt was 20 and Abby was 19, but I guess when you've been together since you were 12, that's so long to wait. Listen, if y'all have been with me for a minute, you already know that one thing we're going to do throughout all of this doc is try to provide as many different perspectives as possible and try to understand what might be possibly some of the root of someone's behavior that has been deemed, very problematic or dangerous by a lot of people online. I feel like mothers have a hard time in this world. Whew, yeah, so, something I want you to keep in the back of your mind as we go through this story, and yes, we're gonna get into it, okay, is the fact that they got married so young. Getting married and taking vows to spend the rest of your life with one person is a massive decision to make for anyone who is making it willingly and not being coerced or forced, which obviously that's a whole other topic, but getting married at 19 and 20 years old is a big deal. A huge deal. Your brain is still under construction then. You're still figuring out who you are and what you want in life. I'm a grown-ass woman and I am still figuring that out. But I say all this to say that I think Matt and Abby getting married so young is a major factor in this story and how they relate to each other and how they project themselves to the world. So just kind of tuck that into the back of your mind for a bit of perspective, I think, as we move through this. So, like every young couple in our current day and age, Matt and Abby started posting on YouTube, eventually cross-posting on TikTok, and in the wise words of Kendrick Lamar, bing bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. They had 1 million followers. So goodbye finance degree needs, goodbye education. Social media became their full-time gigs.
I dropped out of college. I just didn't sign up for my last semester of classes.
I don't think people officially say they're dropping. I think they just don't sign up for
I guess you're right.
So now they are the school of life, okay? And honestly, that's fine too, okay? So
did that scare you guys when I dropped out of college to make TikToks? Yeah.
Scared isn't the word.
With their success on TikTok, their YouTube channel also blew up, rocketing to 7.8 million followers in just 5 years. That is a lot of eyeballs on them. And their content was mainly challenges where they would, try dance moves or silly surprises or hiking videos or Q&As. It seemed like their success lied in their accessibility. They were, cute but not too hot, funny but not too witty, adventurous but not adrenaline junkies, perfectly relatable for their demographic, but always down to be a little bit quirky. But like I touched on earlier with the perspective part, it was also just kind of often very clear just how painfully young they were and still are.
I made the mistake of scheduling horseback riding the same day my wife got an IUD. For the record, I tried to reschedule multiple times, but she wouldn't let me. I was about halfway into the ride. I noticed Abby getting quiet. I couldn't quite tell if she was cramping from the IUD or just uncomfortable from being on the horse. We took some super romantic photos with the sun setting behind us. We even kissed. It was so cute. And after our date, we bought cookies, cuddled, and watched Stranger Things. It was just a great time.
Like, obviously by using that hook, Matt knows just how severely he f***ed up by doing this to Abby, right? So, like, is this rage bait? I'm guessing it was from Matt, but Abby, babe, Abby, please, I am begging you, please just take care of yourself. Women out there, you getting these IUDs and stuff, please be good to yourselves. Please just take care of yourself, okay? Just, whew. But then in 2021, sometime past, IUD, everything changed. Abby announced that she was pregnant with their first child, so congratulations.
Are you serious? Honey, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
And that was the beginning of a lot of trouble in paradise. Once they were pregnant, the floodgates of content opened wide. Matt and Abby began a slew, and I mean a slew. I don't know why I did it like that, but a slew of videos surrounding Abby's pregnancy.
And in 3, 2, 1, say Abby's pregnant. Abby's pregnant. Say Abby's pregnant.
Hey!
Whose is that?
That's my baby.
When are you due?
Now, there's no doubt these are incredibly special memories for them and for any family. And since Matt and Abby love to share, and of course they want to share with their millions of followers, sharing the baby's heartbeat, predicting the baby's assigned at birth sex, the newborn baby haul, a pregnancy Q&A, the baby moon, it's a content goldmine for family vloggers. And all of this got me thinking about the commodification of parenting. And I came across this essay titled, "The Pregnant Influencer is Good for Business: The Capitalization of Pregnancy on Social Media" by Lori Lowe, published on medium.com. And then I saw that she actually has a YouTube video about this very essay.
With influencers from lifestyle, fashion, beauty, fitness, and other niches, I found that following the announcement of their first pregnancy on social media, their YouTube engagement on popular pregnancy topic videos was on average 4.2 times more than previous videos, the highest shift being 5.6 times and the lowest 2.9 times. This likely indicates the arrival of a whole new audience for them. And then the most popular video topics for these emerging mom vloggers were telling my husband I'm pregnant, followed by pregnancy announcement / finding out I'm pregnant, and birth vlogs. These videos actually brought in 7 to 11 times more engagement than the creators' typical videos did previously.
Honestly, a whole new audience, like, who can say no to that, right?
I found that on large channels with over 1 million subscribers, pregnancy videos had approximately 1.5 times more engagement than previous videos, and for mid-sized channels with over 100K subscribers, the effect was approximately 2.5 times more engagement.
That kind of channel growth is what a lot of content creators dream of, let's be real. And honestly, it's hard to blame excited new parents from wanting to share with their audience, like these very big life changing news things that are happening. Like having your first child is a very big deal. And I very much can understand, you see the woman like having a beautiful like cover shoot with like the belly out, and it's like, that's a beautiful thing. I think that we should celebrate and applaud that. Motherhood is incredible. Sudden virality and channel growth on the flip side is also literally why the internet is filled with the most rancid of clickbait. For some, it's all about engagement over quality, because engagement equals money. Money in the form of royalties, money in, from sponsorships, and money from affiliate sales. Sometimes I just, my head's like, I wish, but no, I take a very long time. To produce the content that I do. Even when I say I'm gonna start doing quicker stuff on the second channel because it really wasn't meant to be like that heavy or serious or anything, and I still take a long time. I'll try to get better, because I need something light in my life.
I think the main reason pregnancy attracts this boost in engagement is because moms-to-be, new moms, and even women TTC who are trying to conceive are all searching for information regarding pregnancy to help them make decisions and find product recommendations and hear about other moms' experiences. In part probably because we don't have access to the village and endless amounts of elders, siblings, and cousins and aunts to guide us along this brand new journey. We turn to online communities for advice, reassurance, and support, and that includes our favorite creators.
Let's do a point-counterpoint exercise with this, shall we? Turn up the critical thinking here as we do. So basically, pregnant people are kind of in like nesting mode. And on one head of the perspective coin, some people just want to share the news and find community. And on the other side of the perspective, it almost feels like at times like society has biologically primed pregnant people to like buy, purchase, spend. And pregnant influencers can find themselves in a very sudden position to sell all, these types of pregnancy things. So, point, a pregnant influencer is genuinely going through the same biological experience as the pregnant people in their audience. So it is an authentic way to connect with them and provide ideas, resources, or things that could help people. Counterpoint, again, these are the things that the internet is saying. Counterpoint, each pregnancy is unique and each person's medical history is unique. So presenting a singular pregnancy experience can sometimes promote misinformation, even often, unintentional, can promote anxiety and comparison for people in vulnerable positions, whether that was intentional or not. People who don't have the resources, the money, the funds, the access that, a popular influencer's pregnant does. You know what I mean? So another one, point, a pregnant influencer may have actual products that they love and helped them on their journey, and they have a right to make money to support their family by doing so. Promoting, a product doesn't force anyone to buy anything, and we want the products to be safe and helpful to other people who are expecting. And the counterpoint of the internet, promoting a single product doesn't provide any market research or pros and cons in an oversaturated baby market where a baby's health could potentially be on the line. Another point over here, a person has the right to share their own medical history and experience as long as they clearly state that they are not healthcare professionals or are not, giving medical advice unless they are, unless they are healthcare professionals, but then I don't know how that works because I am not one of those. Counterpoint. Again, one size fits all doesn't work when it comes to medical advice. And while a parent does have the right to share their own medical experience, do they have the right to share their child's? What if there's something going on with the child inside the womb that they have tested for? Because with all of this, point, counterpoint, here is my question. At what point does the pregnancy transition from being about the pregnant person's experience to being about the child, right? As a country, we're talking a lot about when life begins in the context of women's health rights, the forever ongoing pro-life versus pro-choice, a conversation that has much of the country in a chokehold politically. But what about in terms of online privacy for the child? When should a parent start protecting their kids' privacy online? When is it a risk? Is it ever not a risk? And what do those lines look like? I don't know that there are black and white answers here because I think everyone's gonna have very different answers. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. At the age of 23 and 22, respectively, Matt and Abby became parents, and with that, also birthed them into the world of family vloggers. Now, huge heads up if birth is difficult for you. This is overall going to be a positive birth story, and we won't be showing or going into anything graphic, of course, but that doesn't always neutralize a trigger, right? I know that this can be sensitive, so I just letting you know. So remember in health class when you had to watch a live birth and it was absolutely just shocking, wow, Mother Nature's wild!
You were so strong. You were so strong. You were so strong. You were so strong, Abby. You were so strong. You were so strong. You were so strong, Abby. You're amazing.
Now listen again, I'm going to defer to the parents in the chat, please. Parents in the chat, enter the chat about if posting a birth video does that cross any lines, or if it can be done responsibly. When you add in the mix of it being potentially motivated for views, then it could get complicated, right? Are they seeing it clearly, or are the views influencing decisions that are being made? Fair questions. Again, I'm not shading people who have posted these videos, just having a conversation. I know that someone on my team is strongly opposed to these videos for a lot of reasons. So I thought it was an interesting question to bring up. Again, I try to, even the people that are working with me, a part of my team, we try to look at things with like different opinions and just try to, okay, you have this opinion, you have this opinion, I have this opinion. Let's ask questions, because if we have this, different opinions, then probably most people online do. But what I will discuss more thoroughly is the fact that literally from the second that this child was born, their son had a camera in his face.
I love you so much, honey. I'm your mom.
He's a good sized baby for you. Yeah, he's a big boy.
Oh, baby, I love you.
Right there, cut loose. Right there.
And it lasted to varying degrees. They documented the days and nights as new parents.
I'm okay, I got it. For safety, I'm good, I got it.
Listen, we love Abby asking the safety question. We really love that. There's no doubt that, when a baby won't sleep, it is rough for the parents. But am I the only one who feels like there is something, I don't know. It's just something feels a little performative and just when I see, a man setting up a camera, especially often the man is very shirtless, because this video you'll see loves to be shirtless a lot. And not that it's a problem, I just is this we're doing a weird baby thirst trap thing. But again, just asking questions.
The night has been especially hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the hardest nights that I've had. I've tried every soothing tactic in the book. He has not slept more than a minute. It's really hard to keep your head straight when you're 4 hours in of screams.
But when you set up a camera to film your baby crying through the night and your exhausted wife is offering to take over, I'm just trying to figure out some of the logic here. Was the camera already set up by default, or was he holding the baby and did he wait to try the bottle until after he first set up the camera and then hit record? Is he always shirtless? Are these questions none of my business? Well, maybe if he didn't post this online for millions of people to see, so they want it to be everybody's business, so here we are, and now it's our business and we're having a conversation. That's the thing with family vloggers. The moment you start to film your child regularly for content and ad revenue, yes, families deserve to find ways to make money, of course, parents, but when you film your children and then you put it online for everyone to see, you've invited the entire world who's watching to raise questions about the safety and ethics of the parenting. It's a fine line. Most of the world are not content creators, right? So a lot of people will just post, on their Instagram, small pages or whatever, and the kids, they're in the background. But when you've made your job revolve around filming and using your children for content and monetizing their private moments, where they can easily be exposed to predatory people watching, that's a whole other situation. And while we're here, I don't know that we need to necessarily applaud a father for doing the bare minimum of taking care of his child. I don't know.
I just have the utmost respect for single moms, single parents out there. I could not do this on my own. I take the night shift, but I get help during the day. But the fact there's people that do this all by themselves, that blows my mind. You're so freaking cute, buddy.
The video got 14 million views. And let's remember Abby asking for safety, do you need to tap out? Because safety will become a big theme over here. Just 4 months after that video of the 26-day-old fresh baby, so 5 months total, after the baby was born, Abby discovers that she is pregnant again. Yeah, 5 months after going through all that, she's doing it again.
Oh my crap. It's gonna be all right, Abby.
It's just getting darker.
It's gonna be okay.
I'm pregnant.
It's okay. Yes, of course. We knew we wanted more than one baby. It's okay.
Okay, but 5 months old.
I know. I know. That wasn't the plan.
Now, no matter what your feelings are about these two, there's no denying that this would be an incredibly overwhelming and complicated moment for anyone to experience. I cannot imagine what that must have felt like.
I literally look like I'm acting right there.
Dude, look at me. I'm still asleep right there.
Are you seriously pregnant?
Oh, yeah. Holy cow. 7:14 in the morning. Did you almost not record that?
I was totally not going to record because that's how sure I was that it was going to be negative.
Wait, what? I thought for sure this was not
I guess if there's even a chance, then I should record it because this could be a big moment. And turns out it was a huge moment. I just started recording because I was like, I'm gonna delete this immediately after.
I guess we can't accuse them of not being authentic or only showing the glossy, pretty side of their lives. To be totally fair, this is an incredibly intimate and raw moment, and for better or worse, they're sharing it with their audience of millions. Again, it was their choice.
The whole family is in this house too.
Dude.
We're on family vacation.
We're literally at Disney World. We're struggling to like enjoy our time with one kid, and now it's like, hey, you're gonna have two.
So they're struggling to enjoy their trip with just one kid. Let's remember that for later.
Oh, okay.
What were you talking about? I don't think we should use that anymore. Oh, the toilet.
So we were at this really cheap Airbnb. If you clog the toilet, you have to pay for the plumber. We clogged the toilet, and I think you had gone number 2.
Oh, what is that?
That's so nasty.
And it smelled so bad.
So bad. I cannot believe we are talking about this.
Okay, maybe there are just some parts that are okay to edit out. Like I'm just saying, like there's no need to add Poopgate to the conversation. I think Nurse Hannah has that covered. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check Swoop 2. We got a hole. That was a fun one.
It's okay.
Did you hear me? I had a beer.
I had a beer.
We were on rides because we were at Disney World.
It's okay. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
You're so nice.
I feel bad, Abby. Like, I just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. I honestly could not think of what else to say.
Go check on Griffin.
Now, I know some people have ripped this clip all the way apart. I see it, trust me, I have seen it. I understand the rippage for many different reasons. I understand it. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? What if we're like over here, what if we just try to just look at things from perspective and as fair as possible? So I'm gonna try to approach this with more of that. The part where Abby checks in with Matt. Is he happy?
We didn't watch this until like 2 months after this happened.
This is probably like maybe our 4th time watching this video.
I don't even know what I'm doing at this point.
You're just trying to pee. Holy crap. It's gonna be alright, aren't you?
It's just getting darker.
It's gonna be okay.
I'm pregnant.
That's a good thing. It's okay. Yes, of course.
So something I don't really hear said about this a lot. It's perfectly normal to care about how your partner is feeling with life-changing news. And Abby asking Matt if he's happy could very well be the sign of healthy communication between parents. And honestly, there are far too many situations where women discover that they're pregnant and the father is nowhere near as kind or supportive. Now, granted, this is on camera. Could it be different off camera? Sure, maybe. Sometimes women actually lose their lives over that kind of news. To a father. And so I want to try to find positives where I can in this story, because it can get real bad and real unsafe for a lot of women, unfortunately, when they get pregnant.
We knew we wanted more than one baby. It's okay.
Okay, a 5-month-old.
I know. I know. That's definitely that wasn't the plan.
And in the same breath, there's something about, what people thought was desperation in Abby's voice here, and that she said it in the first pregnancy too. It has kind of this fear behind it, maybe fear about, is he gonna have a problem,
Not even know when I got pregnant. I don't even know when that's gonna be.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright.
I thought for sure that was not gonna be positive.
Yeah.
Obviously, finding out you're pregnant can be very scary, especially with an unplanned pregnancy, but there's a little kind of prick in the back of my neck from that, which will come up later when Abby shares about how she feels about their relationship and at times lack of support as a mother. So just put a little pin in that. My favorite part of this video that Matt and Abby chose, again, to film and share with the world, when Matt comes in with his big logical man brain with a plan to, I guess, try to convince or lure family to move out to Arizona, where they moved to in 2020. Listen.
My logical brain right now is just like thinking through all the possibilities, thinking about how we can get family to move out to Arizona to help us. Oh, frick. Like, is this baby coming in 6 months? Is this baby coming in 9 months? Like,
idea.
How far along are we?
Community and support is so important, and spoiler alert, Abby's parents do end up moving in with them in Arizona, which it's an amazing privilege that honestly very few people get if they want it and need it. I just hope that Abby's parents didn't move out, out of obligation or pressure, as they too also have their own lives. They're adults with their own lives, and they've been through this. They have raised kids, but moved they did.
I think when you told me that you started feeling nauseous and having the same food aversions that you had when you were pregnant, I knew
Wow, Matt is more in tune with Abby's body than she is. What a man.
That's when I was like, oh.
Peter.
It's gonna be alright.
I don't know those rides.
You didn't know. It's okay.
What am I supposed to do today?
To be completely honest, at that point I was like, is our kid okay? Like, is it actually okay that you had a beer and road rides? Like, I didn't know for sure.
And honestly, not Matt backtracking and saying that he actually was worried about Abby's beer and rides. Is that him? I don't know if that's him vamping for the camera, or is that a real admission? Like, I don't know. These are getting to the starts of the questions that I'm often left with when I watch how Matt interacts on camera and often seems to drop some surprises in the moment on Abby, especially things that clearly seem to give her some kind of anxieties, because that was obviously Abby's first time hearing about Matt's concerns, and it clearly hurt and I think embarrassed her to hear this on camera, and presumably by this far along in the pregnancy when they were, filming this reaction video, I would imagine they've determined that neither the beer nor the rides affected the fetus. So at that point, I don't know, sometimes things just feel a little off. They just feel a little guilting as I've been going through the content that they have posted. A lot of content that has been uploaded is Abby in very, very vulnerable moments and situations that Matt is filming because she's very clearly very distressed or in a lot of pain. Sometimes the content feels a little kind of exploiting her vulnerabilities, and and he's just out here shirtless having a good time. I'm just saying.
I know this is gonna be okay, but I just think that this was not my plan at all.
Yeah. I think that's why doctors tell you to have a really strong birth control plan.
Oh my gosh, dude. First of all, Abby saying that she wasn't ready is actually heartbreaking. You can just see how viscerally overwhelmed she is. And then Matt comes in with like a shoulda, woulda, coulda about birth control. It's a little late. Was this giving shame? Was this giving past the shocking pregnancy buck onto the wife?
I think that's why doctors tell you to have a really strong birth control plan after you give birth.
Also, you saying that, this is why they say to have a strong birth control plan. At this point, I was already like, shut up.
Oh, I guess that answers that. The woman going through all the intense hormone and body changes has spoken. Shut up, Matt! And then in the confessional portion of the video, I guess we'll call it, Matt says something truly dumbfounding.
Also, you saying that, this is why they say to have a strong birth control plan. At this point, I was already like, shut up.
Oh, yeah.
The deed has been done.
It sucks that there's not an IUD for men.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, yeah.
The deed has been done.
It sucks that there's not an IUD for men.
It sucks that did he just to say sucks that there's not an IUD for men? Am I in an alternate universe here? Do we not know?
It sucks that there's not an IUD for men.
Matt. Just want to let you in a little secret here. There is an IUD for men. That's called a vasectomy, or like a condom. Can I say that? Can I say that the CONDOM word here? I don't know. If only there were options for men. So, should we blame this on the failing of the American school system for not educating him properly, or are these the perils of getting married and starting a family so young with not much life experience, or is this a man's world where the man still gets bonus points for doing the bare minimum, if anything at all?
Also, you saying that, this is why they say to have a strong birth control plan. At this point, I was already like, shut up.
Oh, yeah.
The deed has been done.
It sucks that there's not an IUD for men.
Now, to be fair, yes, I'm harping on Matt a bit, but he is doing a lot of comforting here and is offering a calm and stable presence, at least on camera. And I'm not going to presume to know what happens off camera, but he's not freaking out and is being reassuring while Abby is processing. But with the announcement of the surprise pregnancy and the viral fame that came from this video, they used the momentum to launch their new podcast titled Unplanned.
We have so many exciting videos to share with you guys of telling our family that we're pregnant. We've been a little overwhelmed with starting our new podcast. It's been a lot, especially being parents. So if you guys haven't checked out our podcast, definitely give that a follow, but we have some really exciting more videos coming your way soon.
Yes, unplanned, as in their second kid was unplanned. And, now they won't let anyone forget it, ever. I wonder what that will do to the child to grow up knowing that you were such an unplanned baby that your parents decided to make a whole podcast about it for their job. Maybe it's fine. What the do I know?
We're pregnant! Surprise! I'm sure you're shocked. We are too.
I don't know, maybe they're not shocked because I feel like some people are starting to catch on a little bit.
Dude, we've known for almost 3 months and I'm still shocked. That's actually our new baby
That's our new baby
in the
that's
oven.
in the oven right here.
And that baby, another boy, was born in August 2023. Now, so another birth, heads up for those who are sensitive to the conversation. Because of some potential complications, Abby opted to do a scheduled C-section this time around. And while her labor and delivery experience was very different than her first one, her recovery was what was actually unexpected.
Recovering from birth hit us like a train, and it's probably not for the reasons that you would think. On day one, it was all sunshine and rainbows. Abby was getting pumped full of pain meds, and it seemed like nothing could possibly go wrong. Our family and friends came, we sang happy birthday to our son, but the atmosphere quickly turned. The first night, we got 4 hours of sleep combined. The hospital staff was super nice, but they had to come in our room and run tests on mom and baby for what seemed like every hour on the dot. There were a lot of diaper changes and tears shed, and then it was time for Abby to walk after having a C-section less than 24 hours before. I was very impressed. I could tell she was in pain. She was doing a really good job of hiding it, but it wasn't the physical pain that wrecked us. It was actually the emotional. It felt like the world was ending. Now, even in the moment, we knew that this was only temporary and it wasn't true, but it still felt very real for us. I was struggling to juggle taking care of my healing wife and new baby, and Abby felt overlooked.
A C-section is a major abdominal surgery. Abdominal. That's always a hard word for me to say, abdominal. Did I get it right? I think so. And to feel neglected and not taken care of afterwards, I would think must feel terrifying. It's clear that the start of this pregnancy was filled with a lot of fear and uncertainty. And while it seemed like they, reached a place of joy and acceptance, at least on camera, to then have a birth and postpartum experience that was also difficult is something that can be really hard to process. It can be a trauma, and a trauma that is often pushed to the side because there is a, teensy tiny, new little baby that needs to be taken care of. So without, like a superhero support system, it can turn sour really fast. And that entire video was from Matt's point of view. There are just many times where it comes across to many people online watching them like Matt is kind of jumping the gun on posting about Abby's vulnerable recovery. And this was only just scratching the surface of some behavior that just left me with a lot of questions, kind of surrounding this birth of the second child. The thing with Matt, depending on who you're asking, it's kind of a bit hard to place at times, but many people have labeled him, the most toxic husband on the internet. And I get it, but the thing is, I don't actually necessarily know or think that this guy is the worst, most toxic guy on the internet. And yes, I have an issue with family vloggers that broadcast their children continually without regard to consent issues or safety issues. But I also think in the grand scheme, if we have to rank, which is impossible for so many reasons at the end of the day, but we've certainly covered fathers who appear, in my opinion, to be far more detrimental to their families, some of them to the point of being physically harmful or taking the lives of their partners or their kids. So if we're truly trying to, rank, I would look at people like Daddy of 5 seems to be in the running as just, oh my gosh, horrifying. We did a whole story on them. Even this Kevin Frankie, there are so many questions around that story, right? And I don't just want to sit here and shade husbands who are trying their best while being human and making mistakes. We have enough genuinely horrendous and dangerously harmful fathers in the world, so I think it's good to try to acknowledge where someone might be trying and to messing some things up, and the only reason that the public would even notice is because they chose to film it and put it out there for the world to then just have these conversations. Taking in multiple perspectives and reads on this, it seems like the main issue that people have with Matt is all of these little, sometimes subtle, sometimes not subtle situations, kind of this oftentimes barely concealed, this very condescending attitude towards Abby alongside just kind of a dismissive ego that by her own words seemingly pushes her into a corner at times. It's not necessarily just one big scandal that has made him, this unbearable guy in some people's eyes. Well, except the cruise situation, and we will get to that. But there's also many instances where it feels like, Matt's kind of playing up this helplessness with, I don't know anything. I wish there was an IUD for men shtick. It's kind of giving into intentional male incompetence at times, or what you might have heard of before, something clinical psychology refers to as weaponized incompetence. According to Claudia De Luna, a licensed marriage and family therapist, quote, weaponized incompetence is when an individual consciously or unconsciously demonstrates helplessness in order to avoid certain tasks or responsibilities, resulting in others stepping in and doing the task for them. Weaponized incompetence can create an imbalance in the relationship because one partner is overfunctioning and the other is underfunctioning. The other one is kind of like picking up like all of the slack and like handling like a brunt of the stuff, and the other one's just kind of being like, oh, I don't, you do it better than me. I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna FaceTime you from the grocery store because I don't know how to grocery shop. Wife, I just, I need help. We see that a lot. So keep that in mind as we move through this. In an ideal world, the person that you've chosen as your partner should be your number one supporter after childbirth and always. And to be totally fair, we have seen moments of Matt being a very supportive partner, taking the night shift with the baby to give Abby time to sleep, even though, she ended up waking up, but staying calm and, reassuring her when they found out about the second baby, inserting himself when he says, recovering from birth hit us like a train.
Recovering from birth hit us like a train, and it's probably not for the reasons that you would think.
But when Matt revealed they switched up their sleeping arrangements and they no longer shared the same bed, the internet kind of freaked out.
So many comments are like, my parents did this and they divorced 10 years ago.
It's so different when you have a newborn. Okay, he's not a newborn, but when you have a baby that's like not sleeping through the night.
Well, okay, I know we're not gonna get divorced, but I think it's kind of a little bit also funny because these people don't realize that of our awake hours of the day, which are arguably probably more important for building a relationship that's strong, we're together 95% of our awake hours.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, probably more like 98%.
We're honestly together too much, to be honest. You've been so much happier because you've been actually sleeping and you haven't been waking up as much. And then I'm able to sleep in if Griffin's up all in the night, but you can't.
We cuddle before we go our separate ways, and I literally am just in there to sleep.
And we're still having which is pretty great. Okay.
I think that I insinuated that when I said we cuddle.
I didn't know that cuddling does not mean
we're not putting
it.
that on the internet.
Okay.
Super classy to make sure the world knows you're still doinking and posting the part when your wife asks you not to post it and then posting it. But there actually is something to what they're getting at here. Like in this instance, in the trenches of dealing with a new baby, a lot of couples sleep in shifts, and prioritizing quality of sleep is so important. And honestly, I do not know how single mothers do this. I don't. I just don't. All the flowers to you. But again, if you have the partner, sleeping in shifts can be very beneficial. So, if that means sleeping separately and that works for a couple, then, what do strangers on the internet care? I've never heard of a wedding vow say, I promise to always sleep in the same bed with you till death do us part. Maybe someone has, but I haven't heard it. For the first 3 or 4 months, babies have to wake up every 3 hours or so. If both parents are sleeping in the same room as the baby, both parents are also waking up every 3 hours, which can be so destructive to your mental capacity, so many things. If the parents are fortunate to have each other and they switch off, each parent can get, like a 6-hour stretch of sleep. That makes a world of difference for their health and also for the baby's safety. So that video was posted to TikTok in April of 2023. Fast forward almost 2 years later to February 1st, 2025. And Matt launches a new solo podcast called Night Shift on his solo channel, where his profile pic is Matt without a shirt on. Shocking. Bottle feeding a baby. Again, apparently this man has not met very many shirts that he likes. And in this podcast episode, Matt does something, well, how do I put this? He dragged his guest bedroom mattress across the house and into their walk-in closet and made a 43-minute podcast that, in my opinion, is one massive attempt at rage baiting divorce. Yeah.
This is super embarrassing, but I've been sleeping in our walk-in closet for the past month now.
The video is clickbait, in my opinion, divorce bait, titled My Wife and I No Longer Sleep Together, where he's not talking about sexy time like he wants you to think, but he's talking about actually sleeping in the closet against his wife's wishes.
This is our guest bedroom mattress that I dragged all the way from our guest bedroom into here, and my wife's not a huge fan of this arrangement. Obviously, I don't know a spouse that would be stoked about their significant other sleeping in the freaking closet. Not only does that sound super weird, but for someone like my wife who loves cuddles and loves to just like have me play with her hair while she falls asleep, she's not the biggest fan of this, and I totally understand.
He's sleeping in the closet, isolated from Abby and their infant children, by the way, so I don't I have no idea what happens there if the children wake up and she needs, I don't know, does she have to now go knocking on the thing? But he shares that Abby doesn't like this at all, similar to how she shared, almost 2 years earlier that she didn't like it then either, that she's, a cuddle bug. But he made this decision for the both of them in spite of what she wants. And the internet, as you can imagine, hated this video. So why did he do this?
But this decision that I made, which is a temporary decision, by the way, was something I had to do just to prioritize my mental health because I was not okay. I was really struggling. I was feeling awful, and that's why I'm here. Secret's out. I sleep in the closet.
So he explains how this was to benefit his mental health, which great, we support mental health journeys, but that journey can quickly become a destructive journey for your partner if you are spending, long periods, or maybe even like years worth, I don't know, if you're just solely focusing on your journey and not your partner's and the relationship as well. And I'm not saying, because we don't know that he's not there and supporting her in mental health stuff. We just do know that she has vocalized many a time, as we will see, podcasts and things, that she has not felt supported and that she very much, this is not good for her mental health that he is doing this.
Abby and I are sleeping in separate beds.
Does this mean that you're separating from me?
What?
Let's take that out.
I love being married. How do you feel about what I just launched a couple of days ago?
I have mixed feelings.
Why do you have mixed feelings?
For being completely honest, I'm like, this feels like, I think we know now what a big project something like this is, like what this undertaking is.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I'm like a little nervous about it. So I'm like, man, will I ever see my husband again?
You're worried that I'm gonna just like never spend time with you anymore.
Yeah, because you're...
Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna spend a lot of time with you. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Abby appears very vulnerable here. She's got, her arms crossed and it just seems clearly upset with this arrangement. But one thing that you'll see over and over is Matt acting kind of oblivious to that while she plays the role of having to bend, having to, placate this incompetence because the cameras are rolling, baby.
It's mostly like your brain space is being, your brain real estate has been taken up.
Because it's like I can be in person with you, but my brain is thinking about all the stuff I have to do.
I've already even seen that one.
Like you want more real estate.
Your brain real estate is very...
Like you want real estate in my brain.
Yeah.
I like that. I want real estate in your brain too.
You got it.
Okay.
It's these moments right here where he asks her thoughts, acting as though it's his first time hearing it, that she doesn't like it. Really? While then agreeing that Abby does complain about it every night. So, what is this?
I want to get your thoughts though on how you feel about sleeping alone though.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
Sleeping alone?
No, I complain about it every night. Don't I?
You do.
I'm genuinely trying to see more than one perspective here and play devil's advocate, but it's tough sometimes. Is he playing dumb for the cameras, which then puts Abby in the position of having to be vulnerable and voice her objections to a wide audience on the spot? Or is he leaning into the helpless incompetence, maybe the weaponized incompetence thing, which makes her appear like she's, having to mother him? Or is he really just kind of clueless, maybe married too young and still hasn't figured out before hitting publish?
I am codependent, and I went from being a kid in my parents' house to being roommates with people in college to sleeping with you. And I shared a room in college. It wasn't like I ever even had my own bedroom.
You and your brother used to share a bed sometimes too.
Yeah, I was just I hated being alone at night.
Yeah.
And I have that, I have that thing where I have to say my last words out of my mouth have to be "Good night, I love you."
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, what if I say something else just on my own?
This is his choice for his solo podcast that he put on the channel. Is he sort of rubbing it in her face by doing this? Hey, honey, I know you hate that I'm sleeping on a mattress that you probably trip over in the closet every time you have to get up and get dressed, and you say that you feel codependent, and you say that you are worried about what if the last words that you say at night aren't "I love you," which could then put her in all kinds of a tailspin.
Yeah, I guess what it probably is I saw my parents growing up. My parents did not share a bedroom really. They would
when
just
you were a
separate.
kid even?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I didn't actually know that.
Them not sleeping together has nothing to do with the health of their marriage. It has nothing to do with that at all.
It can be a marker of an unhealthy marriage, or it can just be you have different schedules, you have different sleep situations. Which is our case.
I feel like me sleeping in a separate room
which is technically the closet, has actually been really good.
We're in the same room,
We're in the,
but not in the same bed.
I've literally been sleeping in the closet. I've actually been sleeping in our walk-in closet every night for a month.
I have a couple other gripes about this. It's hard to put my clothes away and get to my clothes.
That's true, because there's a queen size mattress in there because I moved that
and
from...
it's a big closet, don't get me wrong, but not that big.
I mean, I moved the queen mattress from our guest bedroom to the closet.
Yeah.
Now, who knows? Maybe Matt and Abby are having a conversation behind the scenes and saying, yeah, cool, like, let's post this. Let's, I don't know, rage bait. It'll be good for business. It's possible. But back to what I perceive as the divorce bait. It's the, again, the clickbait title, the clickbait chapter titles that he listed on the video. The first chapter title is literally Sleep Divorce. And I'm just like, who is this for? Like, this is just me, but I feel like I would be horrified if my spouse, well, first, I'd be horrified that I had a spouse because when did that happen? But then I'd be horrified that if my spouse that I suddenly have was labeling a divorce for the internet when the internet was already like very much like predicting said divorce for years in the comments of the content because, the wife guy performative weaponized incompetence thing.
People think that this might be because we're separating because you're sleeping separate from me
Oh,
again.
yeah, that was episode 1.
And if we dig further after the sleep divorce chapter, he then talks about wanting his show to be filmed in bed with other people. So not only does he not want to sleep in bed with his wife, but he does want to lay in bed, I guess, with his podcast guests.
I think it's going to be really fun to conduct every interview on the show in bed with the guest that I'm interviewing. So that'll make things interesting.
I'm sure that feels great for Abby. And you know what, now that I think about it, didn't Bobby do that first?
Can you introduce yourself?
Drake.
Why would you go by that?
That's my government name, middle name.
What's your first name?
My first name is Aubrey.
I see what you go with.
Yeah. My mom named me Aubrey.
Listen, to be fair, none of us are in their marriage, even though, people are in the comments because they broadcast so much of their marriage. But it's easy to look at clips and form an opinion, but this is what they chose to upload. And divorce bait that you publish to millions of people will have people asking if you're headed for divorce. So again, who is it for?
My wife and I are still together, by the way. I think I took it off because I've been wearing this silicone ring that was like digging into my finger, and then my finger started to get chapped, and so I took it off today just to give my skin a break. So
listen, do with that what you will, or don't. We're gonna move on for this.
Yeah, you guys are probably wondering like why is he not wearing a ring? But I am still married. Don't worry. Someone probably was freaking out the entire time, like, oh my gosh, they split up. We did split up. We're in different bedrooms, but we're still married and we still love each other.
So this all had me wondering what else could Matt possibly want to talk about, because it's not like he holds back on unplanned. In fact, he rarely seems to have a moment of unedited thought, especially when it comes to how something might make Abby feel.
Does it feel different down there after birth?
Yeah, actually. I feel like it goes back, but it doesn't go back to exactly how
Yeah, we talked about this the other day, and I was kind of surprised to hear you say that, because you never told me until I asked you.
I always heard, oh, it goes back to normal, but it doesn't go back to exactly the way it was before. We can say whatever.
You still like it after?
I still like it, of course.
You like it as much?
I would say so.
That doesn't sound very...
I think I like it pretty good.
I think I like it pretty good. Okay, granted, Abby, okay, we're gonna be fair here. They've been ripped apart for this. He's been ripped apart for this, and I get it. But to be fair, Abby was the one who decided to bring this question up on camera. But it seems so clear at every turn that she's just kind of mortified. Like, remember, this is not long after Abby has literally carried and created and birthed life through a very teeny tiny window. Her body has gone through a tremendous amount of changes, and Matt's casual, just like these flippant remarks, make it feel again like he has, I don't know, zero understanding of the impact that this can have on a woman, especially one who is trying to get to know herself and her body after childbirth. Now, to be fair, again, because I see, a lot of people absolutely crucify Matt for this, shouting, why would you ever tell your wife that? And I get it. Why would you? Aren't you like legally obligated to not ever tell your wife that? To be fair, Abby does say that she didn't know that he felt that way until she asked him this before presumably in private. So it sounds like he did keep it to himself and only shared it when she directly asked him. And y'all can get into the ethics of whether or not you think he should have lied to her or what. Like, I know every couple is different. Some people just want the brutal honesty and others are like, no, babe, if I look tired, I don't look good today, just tell me I'm pretty and keep it pushing. I definitely would like to be lied to, okay?
I think I like it pretty good.
But the thing is, Matt has a history of talking just kind of very freely, I think way too freely, about his wife's body. And yes, to be fair again, point and counterpoint, we don't know if she clears everything that he posts or not. Maybe she does. Maybe she feels pressured like she has to, because that doesn't shake the strong impression that she gives of being uncomfortable at best, especially when conversations about her body, and maybe exploited for content by her self-indulgent husband at worst, and perhaps feeling pressured to go along with it.
It was weird, dude. Sometimes you would have like months where you'd be like, I really think, am I pregnant? Like your boobs would get big or something. Yeah, you'd get like bigger boobs, and it was just like PMS. But you didn't get your period though on the IUD, which was pretty nice.
I think that's also why I kind of convinced myself a few times.
Honestly, that was a huge perk of the IUD, like not having a period.
Was it a perk for you?
Should we continue?
I'm a 200-pound man. You're a woman that's like what, 115, 120?
No, I'm more than that.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed of my weight.
How much do you weigh?
I'm like 123, a little bit more, like 123 and a half.
What's crazy is we almost eat the same amount of food,
yeah.
which doesn't make sense. I'm almost double the size of you. I'm a foot taller than you. Your calves, I'm pretty sure, are bigger than my calf muscles.
They are too.
That is something that I've been working on in the gym. I'm trying to build up my bigger calves.
Have you ever thought about point dancing?
I have not. I used to take ballet. We did ballet together in college, but I have not thought about point.
I don't know if I should be horrified on her behalf or f***ing livid that this man keeps commenting on her body, especially after having given birth. Honestly, I've seen a lot of posts accusing Abby of body checking in her own posts, but if this is what her husband is continually blurting out about her body, I have got a lot of sympathy for her. Honestly, like women who get like accused of body checking, I'm always looking at that like, but society is like really telling women that our bodies are never enough, no matter what shape, size, anything that our bodies are. The world wants us to just feel bad about them. I think it's very natural for humans, period, to have insecurities about their bodies. I think it's very natural for women, especially, just given how society just constantly judges us for how we look. I know that I certainly have a lot of body insecurities. I'm trying to be better about that. I try not to talk so awful to myself, but I say terrible things to myself about how I look. And so do some people online who just hate, especially Black women and our, things like how I look, our skin color, our natural hair, all of these things. So I'm not claiming to know about Abby's situation. This is just speculation, but I just feel like this type of in particular from your partner can really weigh someone down psychologically, and they might not even fully know it. She already has shared many times about being codependent and feeling ugly, which sucks. We hate to see that. Now, for reasons unknown, Abby also agreed to record a podcast 2 days after having a C-section, literally 2 days after her guts were literally sliced and diced, and a freshly baked bun is pulled from the oven, and Prince Charming pulled some bangers out of that bag.
Let's just paint the picture right now. I have an ice pack strapped just above my crotch.
Nice.
My boobs are
They're exploding.
Rock solid.
I think your boobs are bigger than your butt at this point.
Undoubtedly. And I don't even know what
Is that painful? Is that painful at all?
Extremely painful.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
Great.
Body comments while she is in extreme pain, days post a major surgery. Very on brand for Matt. So we're off to a great start.
It felt like we cheated birth.
It was crazy.
It felt like we cheated birth. Listen, friends, listen. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on this clip that long. I know that most of the internet has voiced massive hatred of this in particular, and this wasn't the first time that he said that somehow a C-section was cheating birth, and somehow Matt, the man who did not give birth the first time, nor the second time, should include himself in that we cheated.
So with this one, it felt like we cheated because we just like walked into the hospital, walked into this room, boom, you're open and here's our kid. It was just like so quick. I was like, there's no way this is happening right now.
It was really a beautiful experience. Like, happened so fast. It was so calm.
The only reason that I'm going to try to be soft here is because Abby said it was a beautiful experience and she's the one who lived it. And in the same breath, just to be clear, for a lot of other women, this is a privileged remark, and I'm not even saying that negatively or shade on Abby. We want women to have healthy birth experiences. But passing off the idea of cheating birth to millions of people because of a C-section is dangerous. A C-section, again, a major surgery that can have countless number of risks and complications for the mother and the body. It is not something to be taken lightly. It's often an emergency situation. And the very fact that Abby started this episode off talking about the immense pain that she's still in underscores the recovery process is a very tough one. And that's if you're blessed with a typical recovery. But as I sat down to film this, it does seem like Matt got the message all of this time later.
Did it piss you off when I said that you cheated birth 2 years ago?
Why are we talking about this again?
No, I'm gonna be real. The question that he's asking that they put on screen, it wasn't, did it piss you off when I said cheating birth? But Matt phrased it that way, I think for obvious reasons. And it seems pretty clear that he didn't want to acknowledge how much backlash he got for those comments here. So he positions it like it was his idea to check in with his wife and ask if she was pissed off. It looks like he sprung it on Abby yet again, because she says, kind of like gets a little soft and is like, why are you talking about that again? Like she wasn't ready for that, I don't think, and I don't think she wanted it to be brought up. And again, he just caught her off guard, I think for maybe some of his own reasons.
Did it piss you off when I said that you cheated birth 2 years ago?
Why are we talking about this again?
Well, because I feel like C-section is like hardcore, like arguably more hardcore than, well, I don't want to compare the two.
See, here's the reason why I didn't.
C-section is birth.
Listen, in one sense, I appreciate Matt, quasi addressing this, but I don't think for a second that he came up with the thought that he thinks a C-section is hardcore. I think he was pulverized with that notion by, all of the angry comments having, to woman explain him that no, a C-section is not cheating birth. It is in fact hardcore surgery.
C-section is birth. Birth is birth. All of the births are birth. And so me saying that you cheated birth was super insensitive.
Okay. Progress.
At that time, like, I was just so happy that you were okay and our baby was okay. We recorded a podcast where I was like, dude, it felt like Abby cheated birth because it was so fast.
The reason that I might have agreed at that time was because I had the comparison of our first birth and the fear of wondering if our baby was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that fear with our second birth.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the fact that it was a C-section versus vaginal delivery. It was just the fact of I was never thinking our baby was it was in danger.
Yeah, and it probably was really frustrating for you to be stuck in bed and not being able to really care for our baby in the way that you wanted to.
Listen, I literally think that he's just parroting the thousands of comments of criticism that he's received, but is kind of playing it off like it's now his idea and realization about, all of this, which I mean, okay, I don't know, man. It's a positive step versus not, right?
The C-section recovery is hardcore, so to ever say that C-section isn't birth is...
You didn't say that wasn't birth.
I didn't say that, but I think people interpret it like that. I'm probably overthinking this so much, but I'm sure
you had a lot of angry moms.
I probably did have a lot of angry moms that hated me and still hate me, but that is just the internet, and I just have to be okay. We were in the early stages of...
Matt, you seem so guilty about this.
Well, I feel bad. I feel like if someone heard me say that and was like, F this man who just thinks that I don't matter, I would never...
Here's the deal. Next time you have a baby,
I never want to hurt anybody.
You can do the C-section next time.
Dude, I wish I could for you. It's awful. It's awful that there's nothing I can really do.
It's interesting that Abby asked why he was apologizing when I feel like they both know why, especially given that they put a heart on a comment praising him for addressing this, and he replied, "You live and you learn." So, regardless of why, I'm glad to see that it was brought up, and hopefully everyone learned something. I keep coming back to the idea that these two may be married too young and are trying to figure themselves out and having kids while, their brains are still under construction, and that putting all of this on the internet maybe isn't the healthiest choice for everyone all the time.
For us, divorce is just not on the table. It's not an option. I think people go into marriage thinking divorce is an option. That's why they kind of work themselves towards divorce subconsciously.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's very valid reasons for divorce. There's so many different circumstances that could, that totally validate those people's situations. But for us, in our relationship, I think that the reason we're able to have a strong marriage, that doesn't mean that we don't have conflict, we don't have weak spots. It's because we both believe in the commitment we made to each other.
Listen, do we love rose-colored glasses for young love? Sure. But I just hope that those rose glasses don't neutralize the tint of any valid red flags, like Matt clickbaiting divorce bait to the internet, commenting often on her body, or potentially weaponizing incompetence. Which brings us to the Father's Day boycott. What? Yes, the internet all talked about this nationwide Father's Day boycott. Was this on the news? Why are we boycotting Father's? Well, okay. I understand boycotting Father's Day because, wow, it's hard to celebrate when you've been through some with your father, but fathers boycotting it. What's going on?
We are not celebrating Father's Day this year.
It is so sad. I'm so disappointed.
Not celebrating it on Father's Day.
Oh, wait. It's not a real thing. It's a Matt thing. Because let me check my notes here. Yeah, because he didn't get enough presents. I don't really know, okay?
Father's Day, it's always in June, and it's like
Last
always
year
around.
was June 18th, which is Matt's birthday. So
Yes.
he had Father's Day and his birthday on the same day. And
So sad.
I will say I am disappointed in myself, but I did kind of combine the holidays.
You did combine the two of them. It's okay though. I mean, you were pregnant, you were uncomfortable, you were
We
close.
just gotten back from our baby moon that day.
Listen, I honestly feel for people that are born between like December 21st and January 3rd. That's kind of no man's land of birthdays. Sharing a birthday with Father's Day, just celebrate the Saturday beforehand, and you know, being upset at having to grill yourself while your wife is 8 months pregnant.
Well, we kind
Sounds like we kind of celebrated it on the baby moon.
We kind of skipped it, kind of, because we did.
I got you a cake from DQ.
I guess we had just
had
gotten
our
home.
family over and grilled.
I think I grilled. Well, I grilled, but I know a lot of dads grill on their birthday.
Broseph, Brofessor, Brotato Chip. It's not like you were even completely forgotten. It's just that there was a combo celebration. I think you got a cake, so like, great. Okay, it was great. Just sometimes it's okay to just be thankful. Okay, your wife is like, she's carrying life.
So it's whatever. But yeah, we had Father's Day.
And I grew your child.
You did grow my child.
All day, every day.
But like Father's Day and my birthday were the same exact day.
Yeah,
and it kind of was a bummer because it was like those are 2 days that I
failed. I'm gonna be honest with you, I failed you.
Hey,
I'm so sorry.
but you know what? It's all right. Like there's a lot going on. So, but this year Father's Day is on the 16th of June.
And then on Matt's birthday in June, Abby goes all out for his birthday.
Holy frick! Oh my gosh!
Oh my!
Are these cake pops? This is like way too over the top. This is so nice.
This is the best Father's Day ever.
It says best dad ever.
Why is that funny to you?
You know why it's funny.
You are the best
know why
dad
it's
ever.
funny. You think I'm the best dad ever?
Yeah, wait, why is it funny?
Well, I said the thing about not celebrating Father's Day. I don't know if you're trolling me right now. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, man. I'm trying, Matt. Matt, I am trying. There were moments in time that we were rooting for you.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
So the comments went off. He says way too over the top now, but later he'll say it wasn't enough. First time she didn't do enough for him to separate Father's Day and his birthday, and now he's bitching that she did too much and went over the top. And the clincher, I went to Matt's IG to see what he had gifted Abby on Mother's Day. Nothing. There wasn't even a simple post thanking her for all her work in the family. Instead, what I saw was Abby's post thanking both of their mothers and just tagged Matt's IG so it would pop up on his profile as well. Sad, very sad. Matt!
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Now listen, maybe they did. Maybe he did stuff and they just didn't post about it. Okay, we gotta be fair about that. But Matt's behavior became so notorious with people online that there was a TikTok trend that went, insert like annoying thing that someone's boyfriend does, followed by them saying, and then I remember at least I'm not dating Matt Howard. Send this to the streets, man. What do you think? Is the heat warranted on Matt for this stuff? Or are people being overly critical of a sensitive guy? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move on. Now, getting back to the other podcast, they then continue on and Abby shares about her experience with her emotional experience, which I think is really important for parents to hear.
Yeah. There is a massive hormonal shift that happens.
Yeah.
From being a person with another person in your body to being a person without another person in your body. It hits me specifically like a train.
Yeah.
And it did with our first, and I was like, man, I'm doing so great. I feel so good. And then all of a sudden, bam, emotions hit. I'm no longer pregnant. The realization is somehow shocking and earth-shattering. It feels like, emotionally to me, like my world is ending.
Yeah.
Because my instincts and my like nature just wants to, do it all and make everyone okay and take care of everyone. And I am sitting here needing to be taken care of a lot. It's the feeling, there's no other word I have for it other than if I feel pathetic. It's just you feel so small because you just want to be everything and you can't.
As Abby moves through this, she gets more and more emotional, like quite emotional, sharing deeply personal feelings about her birth experience and the days after.
Like, because everyone's eyes are on the baby and wanting to take care of the baby, and everyone's been so nice and kind and gracious to me. But it's easy for moms to get overlooked.
Yeah. Did you feel overlooked at the hospital?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to see the physical needs, but it's really hard to see the emotional needs.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say, like, it feels like the world is ending, and it feels like my life as I knew it is completely uprooted, and I don't know if I like the new life, even though I want to love this new life so much, and I love the baby, and I don't know why I'm not as happy as I thought I was gonna be, and I looked forward to meeting him so much, but then why is it like I'm having a hard time connecting with my spouse and with my new baby? Like, it just feels so uncomfortable.
And then something out of pocket happened, or in pocket, depending on how you view Matt, and it was something that whipped the internet into an absolute frenzy of anger. Now, this clip was actually edited out of their podcast, but the internet, the internet for these types of things is forever.
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, everything.
From what I could tell based on the pillow position, this happens like not long after Abby was literally very emotional, tears, sharing all of those moments about how mothers are often overlooked. So think about this. She's in tears talking about mothers and just being overlooked through the birthing process and beyond. And Matt proceeds to say that he felt like his career was over for having kids.
I was having this like realization moment of, okay, like my life just changed big time. And for a little bit, I was like, wow, like all my career goals have to go to the wayside. And I just kind of felt, I was kind of frustrated a little bit.
I could tell.
All my career goals have to go to the wayside. Imagine telling a freshly teared, crying mother in need of support in that moment. Imagine saying that while, I guess, I don't know, simultaneously being oblivious to the fact that the fear of losing your career is a fear that every mother has had to deal with because of how shitty society treats career mothers, and not in the same way that career fathers are treated, or I don't know, mothers living in traditional households like Matt's.
Don't be fooled by me picking up my house because I'm not typically the one that does it. And don't be fooled by me taking care of my son because most of the time my wife does that too. Abby really wanted to go to the gym tonight, so I'm on Griffin duty, and I wanted to surprise her with a clean house when she got home. In our relationship, we naturally take on more traditional marital roles, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Don't be fooled into thinking he takes care of his son or cleans his house. Imagine that, Abby not feeling supported days after childbirth and him following it up by mourning his career. A career, mind you, that is him being a father on the internet, which he is literally doing 2 days after his wife's C-section. And I should probably point out that Matt, in his traditional role of, I guess, setting up auto payment once for a car insurance, he didn't actually manage to do that always.
I am so sorry. Now, I know that sounds super irresponsible, but we have all of our bills set up on auto pay, and today I noticed that our toilets wouldn't flush. So I called our water company, and sure enough, they turned off our water because we haven't paid our bill since we bought our house. And the bill was just shy of $1,000.
So we're just gonna leave that clip. We're just gonna leave that clip there, okay? His traditional role wasn't holding up that end of the bargain, at least in that instance. Now, to be fair, Matt is allowed to have feelings. His life is changing too. And I know that, some people online don't acknowledge that. And I don't think that's like entirely fair to, the non-pregnant spouse who's also bringing, life, is gonna be caring for life hopefully for the rest of their lives. But again, in this moment, moments after your wife is literally in tears about not getting enough support, feels really obtuse, but it continues.
Felt I was kind of frustrated a little bit.
I could tell.
And I just kind of shut down and didn't say anything. Like I was just like quiet.
Yeah, that was hard for me.
I was doing like everything for Augie, and so I'm like, here I am, like I have all these like big goals and big dreams, and I have to put them to the wayside, and I'm like, I'm stuck here, and I was kind of mad.
Yeah.
And that just lasted for like a day.
It lasted like 2 days.
You think it lasted 2 days? For sure. Did it last the second day? Maybe it did last for the second day. But then it went away.
What an
Yeah.
I mean, now the clip that they cut goes on with him saying that, he was angry and that he didn't speak to Abby as she was recovering for like a period of time, with like the days after during this recovery. And she tells him how that hurt her and how she felt like he wasn't there to meet her needs, literally days after everything. And again, to try to give as much perspective as I can here, people who've posted about this usually just share like the worst part of that, and trust me, I totally get it. But he does come back around and at least say this. I'm gonna play more than probably a lot of people have seen.
Like, I was having this thought while I was just like rocking Augie last night. Career goals are fun, and they are important. Like, I think for many people, myself included,
that's so valid.
it's important to like set a goal for yourself and see you accomplish something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's nothing more important than family.
Nothing.
And it's like if you had every big career thing you could possibly imagine happened to you, and it worked out, and you just crushed it, and everything went your way, but you didn't have your family and you didn't have your friends, that would be a very depressing life. But I think on the flip side, if you had all the family in the world, all the friends, and no career, and no big goals, and no big dreams accomplished, I feel like you'd still be happy. Because I think that at the core of like life, I think that nothing brings more joy and happiness than good community and good
That's
family.
how I feel, honestly.
Does that make it better? I'll let y'all decide. So all the talk of career goals are in reference to his, drumroll please, a singing career, because once a theater kid, always a theater kid. In February of 2024, Matt released a song titled Still Not Enough that he called the saddest song I've ever written.
What's the song about feeling empty inside?
We obviously can't play it here because, we can't. So let's have a reading of the lyrics. I'm wondering if I'm depressed. I can't be right, it don't make sense. I'm no doctor, but that's not like me. I put a smile on my face and play the part to hide the pain because there's a couple of kids in the back seat. I thought by now I'd be happier. I thought by now that I'd have it all figured out. You'd think I'd feel a little better about myself because I got everything I want, but it's still not enough. I'm trying hard to stay afloat. On paper, it's perfect, but not even close. A million friends, but I feel alone for reasons I don't know. Now, I am well aware a ton of the internet has dragged Matt to hell and back over this clip and playing this for his wife, and I get it. He is literally playing a song for his wife, who he started a family with. His wife who birthed their 2 kids, with lyrics talking about not feeling like it's enough. And maybe one day his kids see this and are left wondering if they weren't enough for him. That sucks. Of course, there's a chance that this could make Abby feel like, what the hell, my dude? Like, this makes me feel like crap, like our family isn't enough. Like, all of these things that I'm doing to raise the household, take care of the kids in their traditional household isn't enough. That could be something that carries really deeply for her that might not inspire, again, her feeling like all of this work that she's doing and putting in and bringing life to the family, and this life is now what you guys are making a lot of money on, that could make her feel very slighted, I would think. I hope she doesn't feel that way. You could see her being very, comforting to him, but also what else is she gonna do? There's an element of this that feels very heartbreaking for Abby while he expresses this pain, and I get that. So the internet has already beat him over the head with that point, so I'm not gonna go further into that, because I'm also gonna try to have some compassion for these types of situations. Again, we're not in this relationship, right? So just knowing that people feeling vulnerable can express themselves in all kinds of ways, and sometimes it's not the perfect timing. This is a thing that happens. I have expressed myself when I'm in the throes of very dark depression or chronic pain or things that are going on with my brain that I'm just starting to understand more of. Neurodivergence is a bitch. And I know that artists do this all the time with their art. I know people drag him about the quality of the music, but I'm not gonna drag him and the quality of his music. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, listen to something else. But listen to what inspired Matt to write this song.
So 2 months ago, I was in a really dark place, and I didn't know why, because on paper, everything is perfect. I have so much to be thankful for, but I just felt really, really sad. And so I put my thoughts and feelings into a song and wrote it, and it was so therapeutic. And today I dropped that song.
But this is a thing that artists and creative-minded people do all of the time through their art. And they have friends and family around them when they do this. I mean, we love when, Taylor Swift pours her emotions all over the place in lyrics. We love when Ren raps about mental illness and battling demons and not feeling good enough in front of his loved ones. I've put out films where I'm literally very emotional, sharing about my very difficult ongoing struggles. I still struggle with this. I just don't share it as much as I used to in film and stuff. And I have loved ones around me, and I share it with them of like, I don't feel like anything is enough. Nothing that I'm doing is good enough, right? So I just want to try to be careful about shaming this type of vulnerability and expression. And especially like with men who are still told a lot of times that they're not allowed to be emotional. We see it a lot with men. We see it a lot with Black men. Oh my gosh, the Black and brown communities do not want, they just don't want people, period, in a lot of ways, talking about like mental illness, depression, things like that. That was very much part of my growing up experience, not with my mother, but just with, some of the Black side of my family. And like, it was very much like I was considered an abomination to my family, and I was considered quite shameful when I started sharing about my mental health. And man, is that still really painful, still really painful, man. It just like, it's not easy growing up in and just abusive. Yeah, anyways, don't know why I went there, but these types of circumstances, situations, all it does for all of us when we're telling stories or when we're looking at these types of stories is going to trigger your own experiences, right? That's kind of why we talk about these stories, so that we can also share. I'll share some of my experience, you share some of your experience in the comments and stuff. But shaming this type of thing, I just want to be really careful because it can easily start to push forced positivity. And that's a very slippery slope, especially for someone who is potentially experiencing depression. People do that to me all of the time when I share about my mental health, when I share about being a survivor. I, as a Black woman in particular, with everything that I have been through in my life, I am going to talk. I'm going to share because I know it helps other people feel like they can share too. And I see it with you all in the comments all of the time. If I share little snippets, then I get the comments from you and the DMs just saying thank you, because now you feel like, you know what, if Swoop can share about these things for 30 seconds, 5 minutes in the middle of a story, then I can too. That's why I do it and why I'm gonna keep doing it. So back to this. To play devil's advocate here, as we do, even when it's very against the grain, in this story, especially since Abby seems really supportive of Matt sharing this. And so if she's supportive, then I relate to what he's singing about. And I feel like maybe a lot of people relate to those lyrics.
And a big part of it was like, oh, once I'm married, I'll be so much happier. Got married, lasted for a little bit, eventually the high faded. Then it was like, oh, once I buy a house, I'll be so much happier. Bought a house, super cool, high faded. Then it was like, oh my gosh, once I have kids, I'll be complete. And like, again, so amazing. I love my kids so much, but then the high faded. And then I'm like, what, am I just like on a hamster wheel? Like, what am I doing, Anyway, I wrote the song called Still Not Enough. I hope there's something in there that you guys can relate to, or maybe someone that you know can relate to. And for me, rather than like ignoring those feelings or ignoring those like sad thoughts, I think just like processing them is so important. And then I feel so much better afterwards.
I think it's worth pointing out that depression and mental health issues are very serious. And I'm certainly not a professional, mental health professional, or attempting to diagnose Matt or anybody. And, within the song, he hints at not having a specific diagnosis. He has, though, in previous videos, and like in the mattress video, he's mentioned that he has ADHD and was like more recently diagnosed. And that made me think other things, like whether this applies to him or not, just kind of like, let's zoom out for a second and like put, him in the story over there. That hamster wheel effect that he describes, chasing the thing that he wants, achieving it, only to be left feeling not fulfilled. Number one, it sounds like a lot of experience, just like kind of part of a human experience, but it also sounds a lot like dopamine chasing, which can be very common for some people with ADHD and even OCD, though, you know, men and women can present very differently. And again, I'm not relating this to him. I'm just talking about an interesting thing that I learned for myself, because I'm speaking from some experience here. I've lived with this, you know, chronic feeling of absolute failure. And I know a lot of you have experienced that, and never being enough or achieving enough no matter what, you know, I do in my life. And for me, as I'm trying to process, it's almost like an involuntary form of mental self-harm. You know, this loop that my brain is not built to regulate the way neurotypical brains are built. And I'm guessing some of you can relate to that. And I get in these spirals. I think you probably know what I mean if you've been through that. So I did some more learning. According to Attitude Mag, a great resource for those who might need some free ADHD guidance, reward deficiency syndrome, RDS, has been proposed to explain why ADHD brains, or I'll say some ADHD brains, need stronger incentives. Deficits in the reward pathway, including decreased availability of dopamine receptors, decrease motivation. Indeed, ADHD brains struggle to sustain motivation when rewards are mild or are linked to long-term gratification. As a result, ADHD brains search for stimulation that can increase dopamine more quickly and intensely. Ultimately, the pursuit of pleasurable rewards may become a potent form of self-medication. In fact, dependent brains exhibit similar dysregulation of the dopamine reward system. Now, everyone is different, right? Everyone is different, but for a lot of us, our brains are unknowingly in search of dopamine to feel like we're not worthless. I think for a lot of people, this can present in very sneaky ways, like executive function challenges that look like procrastination. That's something I have struggled with my entire life, where, you know, in the very last moments, you know, we cram whatever it is we had to get done, you know, like me filming this doc, which is a backwards, stressful way of kind of filling up that dopamine tank, but in a stressful manner. And a really difficult after effect is what is called a dopamine cliff. And this can be a whole ass bitch, let me tell you, and this has been very eye-opening to learn. Quote, the dopamine cliff is a sudden significant drop in dopamine levels, a neurotransmitter that affects motivation, pleasure, and focus. This drop can occur abruptly, leaving individuals feeling depleted and unmotivated. When dopamine levels plummet, it can trigger a range of adverse effects: loss of motivation, difficulty concentrating, increased fatigue, irritability, and feelings of frustration or disappointment are common manifestations of the dopamine cliff. Essentially, this sudden decline in dopamine can disrupt normal brain function, leading to a decline in overall well-being and productivity. I hope that helps someone. Learning this really helped me a lot, and I know there's not a lot of people who are openly talking about things like ADHD, which I am very much learning a whole lot about. And I know that there's not a lot of Black people who talk about it because we have felt like we can't talk about mental illness. And so that's also really important to me. I'm still considering it Black History Month because honestly, I just want to honor like Black us as well, as much as I can, because I've just been feeling, especially increasingly like over the last year and even like the last many months, I've been feeling like as a Black woman, I'm not allowed to like share my experiences or my opinions, and that's just been increasingly on the rise with a lot of us just being attacked. I just want you to know, if you're anyone dealing with like ADHD, I'll remember to link the resource if it helps you. Okay, back to it.
And over here is the toilet. You can flush it by pressing this button. Woo! Oh, and then check this out. This is our view of the ocean. Okay.
We're gonna jump in the timeline for a moment to discuss what is probably one of their biggest single controversies that went so sideways, major press outlets got involved, an international cruise ship changed their policies, and Matt and Abby got tangled in a big PR disaster. In September of 2024, the couple took a cruise with their 2 young children.
We are on a cruise with our 2 kids. So let's do a room tour. Okay, that was not necessary. This is the shower. You have this handy dandy little wand, and then they even put the shampoo right here. It low-key feels like I'm gonna go down a slide. I'm going to walk from the front door to the bed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They decided to get multiple rooms so that the kids and the parents can sleep separately, meaning Abby and one kid in one room, Matt and another kid in another room. separate. We know Matt likes that.
Abby is staying in the room next to ours, so I get this whole bed to myself. It's actually just 2 twin beds squished together. Oh. And we do that so that we can have one kid in one room and the other kid in the other.
And that, that tent thing over the baby's pack and play is, is a common travel tool that helps block out extra light for kids that are used to sleeping in like darker environments. And for all intents and purposes, sorry, they're gonna joke, I'm gonna joke. But generally the tent is, perfectly safe. Abby also posted a photo of her room, and a big thanks to folks, online and like the cut for additional information here. In this still, you can see the caption saying that Abby's grandmother is staying in one of the twin beds and she is staying in the other. Plus, the pack and play for the second child. A handful of other family members joined them on the cruise, but vacations with young kids are notoriously difficult, and Abby was feeling the pressure. Now remember, her second pregnancy announcement when they were struggling on vacation with just one kid, and now double that. Quote, I'm currently in that phase of family vacation where I am extremely overstimulated and questioning why I thought it was a good idea to cram into a tiny cabin on a boat and mess up our little human schedule for 7 days. But I'm thinking that once we get more settled, I'll perk right up. Keep ya updated, thumbs up emoji, ha ha. So the next day she said she was feeling better, but still not fully enjoying herself. She posts, quote, day 2 update. I feel better, that's for sure. Less fight or flight, but still kind of panicky from time to time. I'll be honest, it's still not giving vacation, but hey, especially has been laughing a lot and really enjoying himself. And tomorrow they are going to be checked into the kids club for the first time. So I'll let you know how that goes. Now, meal times were particularly challenging. There was a kids club on board that was designated for kids to play and have fun while parents could have a break, but it didn't seem to be working out for their kids. Post a picture of them clinking glasses and says, quote, this didn't last long. 5 minutes after we had to leave dinner to go get our 1-year-old from the nursery because he was sad. 15 minutes after we dropped him off to have a kid-free dinner. Then updates. Oh, we made it through the meal. Only a couple of breaks for walks, I'll take it. Now, you could tell she's kind of a bit miffed about the dining situation because she continues to post about it. Quote, me walking into the formal dining every night wondering if we will make it through the meal with the kiddos or be taking it to go. Cry, laughing emoji. Now, at this point, some fans were incredibly annoyed and accused Abby of complaining about her kids and being ungrateful for, the luxuries of being able to go on a cruise with your family. I totally understand people feeling that way. To be as fair as possible and try to, hear from some other perspectives. I actually talked to some parents who said that it's actually quite common for many parents, especially young parents, to feel overstimulated on vacation with their children. I mean, how many times do you hear people say that they come back more exhausted from a vacation than if they had just stayed home? So these parents said you're not just balancing like a new environment and new schedules when traveling, your kids are also experiencing new environments which could introduce unpredictable reactions or insecurities or them becoming overstimulated as well. And the parents, might not have their usual like comfort tools available because they're away from home. Based on what these parents were saying, it's not unheard of for some parents to get in over their heads if they didn't manage expectations, and that it can be, a healthy thing to have your kids cared for at the kids club so that they can, have a moment for themselves. That's part of what childcare is there for on cruises. I really appreciated that insight from parents because I think sometimes parents can be, judged in ways that are kind of impossible. Like let's say like a single mom taking her kid for a weekend trip and having struggles might get ridiculed, but for taking the kid on a trip. But if she leaves her kid at home with a caregiver, she might get ridiculed for not taking her kid on the trip. You know what I mean? And y'all listen, like I don't know what the perfect solution is, but I do know that this is yet another example as to why family vlogging, even if the kids' faces aren't really seen, can be a big problem that creates a lot of outrage. And it can also pose a very big safety risk for the kids. If Matt and Abby are recognized and simultaneously posting about what they're doing with their kids and where they're located. I believe there was that one time when Abby posted like the exact gym she was working out at, which had childcare services while she was there. Literally, no, please no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Please, anyone out there, public figure or not, please do not post the location of where you frequent with your children, especially while you are actively there. That can be so dangerous. Now, the outrage reached a fever pitch with what happened next. Matt and Abby shared that after 5 nights of trying to include the kids at dinner, they ended up changing their plans. They post, quote, "So we ended up taking them for 5 nights and it became apparent that they weren't enjoying it and therefore we weren't either. So then we switched our dinner time to after their bedtime and FaceTimed the monitors while we ate. And that worked out much better for everyone." With a little added note that, quote, "Baby monitors don't work on board unless you're only like 10 feet away." So according to this post, according to their very own words, it appears that Matt and Abby left both the kids, who are both under 2 years old, alone in their cabins with some weirdly, I don't know if this is like a weird rigged up baby monitor FaceTime situation because of bad signals when they went to dinner. They even say that the baby monitors don't work on board farther than me throwing this story in the trash. And there's a reason for that. There's a signal range with baby monitors. If you're outside of that signal range, there's a good chance that you can't get to your child fast enough if there is a legitimate emergency. Now, let alone on a cruise ship that is hundreds of feet long with all sorts of strangers and who knows who wandering around. You know, the horror stories that have happened on these floating terror hotels are bone chilling. Sorry, they're not all like terrible, just but you know, the orcas always know, okay? But another question, were their kids left in their separate rooms? Were they together? And have you ever left them alone like this before? As their audience realized the implications of Matt and Abby leaving their 2 toddler children unattended, allegedly, the comments started pouring in. And the response, a comment deleting spree. Abby then deleted her stories and went quiet for a few days until they posted this.
Hey everybody, we usually would not be making a video like this, but there is information circulating about us that is completely untrue. So we just wanted to set the record straight, clear the air, because we take our role as parents extremely seriously. And we love our children more than anything in the entire world. And we're very protective of our kids. So we just got back from a 7-night cruise with Abby's extended family. And this was everyone from Abby's grandma, our children's great grandma, to our 1 and 2-year-old. And so where this whole controversy started, I guess, is a few days ago, Abby posted on her Instagram story that we were at dinner FaceTiming the baby monitors while our children were asleep in their staterooms. And people started to speculate and believe that we had left our children alone in their staterooms. And that is just completely untrue because we had someone with our children at all times on this boat, period.
Yeah, so some people found this explanation reasonable. If you look at the comments, a lot of comments that were like, this is reasonable. Others didn't.
I can see where my story did lead to misunderstanding, which is why I ended up deleting it several hours after posting it, is because I could see that it was causing concern and misunderstanding.
Now look, if they actually did have a family member with the kids at all times, there are definitely parents out there who always want eyes on the baby monitor, even, if someone trusted is watching their kid, because, they just have that anxious attachment style. It doesn't mean they don't trust the person the kids are with. And if they don't trust them, then they shouldn't be with the kids. But commenters have speculated that Matt and Abby didn't trust whoever they left their kids with. If they're even telling the truth here about there being somebody with the kids, they didn't specifically name anyone here, so people have speculated that they're lying. Or is this yet another example of 2 people who had kids way too young and don't realize the safety implications of their actions until way after the fact?
And I do want to say thank you so much to those of you that were concerned about the safety and well-being of our children. As their parents, that is our first and foremost main concern. But to know that other people share those same concerns for our precious boys, it really means a lot. So thank you. But I do want to clarify that we have not, would not, will not ever leave our children unattended. We would never ever want to put them in harm's way in any way.
Abby thanking people for their concern is kind of giving person who doesn't know the intervention is about them energy.
I do want to clear up the baby monitor situation. Our children sleep in these blackout tents every single night, whether or not we're traveling or if we're just home. And a feature of these tents is they have a spot for a sound machine and a spot for a monitor. And even if we are sleeping in the exact same room as our boys, we always turn their monitor on so we can watch and see what's happening inside the tent, make sure they're okay, see if they've fallen asleep or if they've woken up. We just love to have eyes on them. We're always concerned about them. And so that's why even when we would, tag team and take turns at family dinner, we would turn on FaceTime so we could also have eyes on them as their parents if we weren't the ones, attending them in that moment.
Also, hi, critical thinking over here, Occam's razor. Why in the whole grain hell would you go to the trouble to set up a monitor FaceTime situation and then post about having a baby monitor / FaceTime setup, but not mention that there was an adult with the kids? Like, the couple are king and queen of overshare, so why not share that part? So were they there, or were they legitimately being like, oh, we've solved this because we got the FaceTime thing, and like, let's tell our people, let's not mention people being there because there weren't people there because we're so clever and we got the FaceTime thing set up. Look at how good, it look great.
We spent a lot of our time on this boat in our staterooms manning the baby monitors, and if it wasn't for Abby's extended family, we really would have not gotten a chance to really get out of the room. So thank you to them. Thank you to you guys for listening to what we had to say. It really means a lot to us, and yeah, we appreciate you listening to the very end.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, again, none of us were there, so we're never gonna know for sure, but they spent post after post talking about their frustrations about not being able to go to dinner with the kids, presumably because they wanted a moment to themselves. Okay, fair, but they go to such great lengths to show their audience how clever they are with this monitor thing, but leave out the alleged family member being there. Why? The question is just why. So in that People article that came out, about a month after the cruise ship incident, quote, Matt tells People that they were traveling with Abby's extended family who were able to watch the kids while the podcasters dined separately. That also contradicts what Abby originally posted. Like, again, if that's the case, Abby's post wasn't just misleading. It was completely unnecessary and maybe a lie. Like, it's not quite adding up. I'll read her post again. So then we switched our dinner time to after their bedtime and FaceTimed the monitors while we ate. And that worked out much better for everyone. Yeah, I don't know. In the aftermath of this controversy, and it was a very big controversy, Royal Caribbean officially banned baby monitors on board, saying that they could interfere with ship communication, and the timing aligns perfectly with the attention that Matt and Abby brought to cruise ships and monitors, like within 10 days of the incident. People assume that this was a direct response to Matt and Abby. I mean, they were writing news articles about it. Now, legally, a cruise ship can update their prohibited items list at any time, but just searching through the history of updates, it seems like they typically do it in the beginning of the year, unless there is a change in law or like technology, in which case they usually take a few months to update it to be compliant. This was 10 days. That's pretty quick. And people assumed it was, again, Matt and Abby because their apology was September 17th and Royal Caribbean updated their policy on the 27th. But remember, I'm the Dean of Petty University, which means I'm a thorough bitch when I want to be. So we're gonna look at this a little bit more. If we compare the list of prohibited items from before and after the change, we can see that Royal Caribbean actually added several things to the list. So here's their list on September 26. It goes from disabling chemicals and other dangerous items to alcohol. And on the 27th, we go from that to, now the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is not allowed because of the battery issues. Electrical extension cords are out, and under the ham radio and other transmitting devices sections, we see they've specifically mentioned baby monitors. Gotcha, Matt and Abby. Except Matt and Abby didn't use baby monitors, remember? That they don't work very far on the ship. So they FaceTimed with these Motorola tablet things. But wait, FaceTime is an Apple proprietary app that only works with Apple devices. Gotcha, Matt and Abby. Oh, except you can use one of these Motorola things to join a FaceTime video call through a browser if the Apple device initiates the call. So it appears the updates to the Royal Caribbean banned items list didn't maybe actually totally ban the things that Matt and Abby used. So do with that what you will. Now, in a more interesting twist, Trisha Paytas actually had some very clear and reasonable critiques to this situation. She is a mother. It was presented but it was still presented in a very Trisha Paytas sort of way, of course.
But then I saw people start talking about it again today, and I'm like, we have to talk about it because I'm so invested in this, and I hate them so much.
Oh my God.
I have actually never hated someone. I don't care if it's rage bait, I still hate them for that. I don't think it is rage bait. They are the worst, and the fact that people people have emailed me from their podcast, from their DM me from their podcast so many times, like, will you come on the Unplanned podcast? I literally would rather do anything. I'd rather go on MrBeast games 5,000 times with no tampons and eat lunchlies. Eating lunchly for the rest of my life than go on Unplanned podcast.
Oscar's laugh just kind of tickles my soul. Listen, we can appreciate some petty energy, but I don't think that she's being petty just to be petty here.
So they leave both of them in this room more than 10 feet away while they're at dinner with 2 other adults. And everyone's just like, why would you leave them in a room alone? Like, there's so many things go wrong. Much less disregard the fact that someone on the boat could kidnap. I mean, that's the big thing, right, is kidnapping. There was a child, I forgot, a while ago, her name's Madeline McCain. Yeah, whose parents went to dinner and just like left her by herself and was like literally vanished.
One odd thing that sticks out to me is that if Abby's extended family were there, her grandparents and parents, would they not have said something about leaving the 1 and 2-year-old alone in the room? Or does that lean in the favor of the argument that Abby just mistakenly misrepresented the situation and that an adult was in fact watching these kids? Or is that putting too much faith in people who allegedly rage bait?
You're not doing anyone any favors, and anyone who looks up to them or are fans of them, you're just spreading more harmful misinformation, because other dummies will watch that and be like, oh my god, like that's such a good idea, I'm gonna do that now when I go out. Like, there's so many options. Or even a daycare on a cruise, I wouldn't trust it, but like, okay, if that's what you do, like at least that's better than leaving them what looks to be alone from your story, Abby. But I guess seemingly unattended. You say there's someone there, you post everything, you didn't post the person there, but we would love to verify. Maybe there's camera footage to see if someone was in that room and left that room.
We've talked about the issues with family vlogging at length before, and you know how I feel about it, and we're going to continue these conversations. So the argument is made, don't post stuff about your kids on the internet. But the other side of that argument, again, point and the counterpoint, is the question, is there a way for families to vlog for a living? For some single mothers, they view this as a way to be around their kids all day and also support their family. Are there creators who are somehow doing it responsibly? Where and how do we draw the line of what is too much exposure of a child online and what is just a family living their life in a social media based world? If a family vlogs about their life but doesn't show or post their kids' faces, is that okay? There's no consistent opinion across the board of this. I have my opinions, but I really just want to open this conversation up. What do you think? Are parents never supposed to be allowed to post pictures or video clips of their kids ever, if their family vloggers are just, non-creators and they're just posting pictures? Are they never supposed to do that? Never supposed to talk about their kids online ever? Or is it okay in certain situations? I remember seeing the cover shoots, on Vogue or that kind of thing, with various, celebrity women proudly holding their babies or young kids and talking about motherhood. And, I remember there was a spread, I think, with Rihanna, and she had both of her babies, I think, in her arms. And those covers and interviews are widely celebrated, celebrating motherhood, right? So the question is, are people supposed to condemn that? Does that slip into condemning motherhood? Are women in particular allowed to share and post about their kids? And if so, how should it be regulated? These are all questions I am constantly asking, as I'm not sure that any of this is purely black and white, not just in regards to content creators and this as a profession, but just parents posting their kids to the internet, period. And I don't know if anyone has come up with the perfect solution that everyone agrees with. There's a lot of laws and things that are being worked in, like for example, Sherry Frankie, speaking to Utah lawmakers. Again, Matt and Abby did, after all, make the decision to start blurring, kids' faces now that they're no longer infants or, just filming the back of their heads. Quote, since their toddlers have grown out of infancy, the Unplanned podcast co-hosts made the decision to conceal their kids' faces in videos and photos. Their main concern is safety, the duo tells People, and they sync up to curate their content accordingly. Matt and Abby say that they don't post any videos or photos without both of them signing off on it. Privacy for our family is very important, so that's an area that we run by each other, says Abby. Anything regarding our children's health, that's something that's really important, and details about about location, whether that's when we're traveling or our own home. After many years and many a family vlogger, there is a trend where more and more influencers are keeping their children's faces and sometimes even their names off of the internet. While that does protect the kids' privacy, to certain extents, actually, a lot more than just, filming them all the time. When content around raising kids is your only or main source of income, does that work in the long run? Or is that a slippery slope that could become exploitative in a different way? There has also been a new law, like I mentioned, passed in California that offers better rights for child influencers. And, we've talked about it before, and we will talk about it again in a future doc. But just really quick, in short, SB 764 establishes financial and legal protections for minors featured in monetized online content, i.e. child vloggers, by mandating their parent or guardian set aside a percentage of their earnings in a trust account. AB 1880 also expands the Coogan law, law protecting child actors and their income to include minors who are employed as content creators on online platforms such as YouTube. Now, this law doesn't apply to Matt and Abby since they're based in another state, but I wouldn't be surprised to see more of this legislation nationwide over the next few years. A lot of petitioning going on, like in Utah, especially as more child influencers begin to come of age. And while parenting and child development and pregnancy and motherhood content are all huge niches and markets and have been very helpful for mothers and expecting individuals to learn about some stuff, I think there's still a lot of work to be done around this topic and how to best create laws that protect kids and the discourse around what is and is not appropriate for family-based content. Child, that was a lot. I need a glass and a bath, honey. I think we need a bit of a kitty palette cleanser. Excuse the tone shift, and then I will conclude with my final thoughts. Number one, thank you for being here. Let me just say thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to just be with me through these content and as we tell these stories and be willing to be open to maybe sometimes when I have different approaches to these types of stories and the perspective and all of the type of stuff that's just become more and more important to me. And thank you. I know we're out of February, but just thank you for supporting me as a Black woman creator. I just have seen so much just increased, dramatically increased hatred against Black creators in particular, and people of color who are content creators. And they're just trying to erase Black voices from every conversation that you can think of. And it's really, really disheartening and discouraging. Just appreciate you for being here. I know we have such a diverse community here. I know that our demographics are really just such a multitude of diversity, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so, so proud of that. As a reminder, the usual things. A lot of you keep asking for restocks and things on the different, the Valid Ribcage collection is still up. The Unbroken collection. I might bring back some Petty University things. We've got some new stuff that we've been working on, and so that's all available. But just tap the link below. It's in the pinned comment, all that good stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Bluesky. All of that is linked below. That's where I post most often, have polls, check in on life, and post opportunities to be featured in upcoming Swoop docs like we did, we've done so many times. Also, I have a second channel called Swoop 2. She's just over a year old now. Over here, we deep dive. Over there, we don't. They're skinny dips. We take little dips into the unhinged dark waters of the cesspool, where honestly all bets are off, okay? We have a lot of fun over there, and it's much more casual. The videos they're supposed to be shorter. Sometimes they got a little long, but they're usually shorter, so welcome to the chaos. Huge thank you again to all of our channel members and to our Patreon producers. I have been doing a lot over on Patreon now. The whole Patreon page has just been revamped, and I've been posting some very special extended videos, extended podcast episodes, behind the scenes content. I'm posting additional unhinged videos where we've been working on some new shows that we're gonna hope to launch over there soon, and extended videos that aren't available here. Like I'll have an extended episode, kind of a podcast episode on this topic and stuff over there, and also just uncensored content that I am not allowed to post here. And so all of that is exclusive to Patreon, and also with the podcast, you can get in early and help me as we kind of put it together and start developing that and see it all in its like early, exciting stages. So tons more content over on Patreon. You can also get your name in the credits of all the docs and videos that I post on both channels. So if you would like to have exclusive access and become a member, it is linked below in the description and the pinned comment. If you want the joy of skipping the grocery store and having the most amazing, healthy, delicious foods delivered right to your door, Hungerroot is the vibe. Tap my link below and take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link below or go to hungerroot.com and use code SWOOP and treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. And again, aside from that, just thank you for being here, for subscribing, for sharing this video with a friend. We really do have the most amazing community, and I'm so thankful for each and every single one of you. I'd like to bring us back to the questions I asked at the very beginning of this video. Will there ever be an agreement on what is and what is not appropriate for parents on social media and family vloggers? As we continue to look at creators and celebrities whose main income is centered around featuring or discussing their children, where is the line drawn? Is not showing their faces enough? Can any parent, whether, a creator or not, responsibly, post their children on their Instagram account? Is it all bad? Does it depend on the number of followers? Will we ever, as a society, be able to come to a consensus on this topic? As more and more children from family vloggers are becoming adults and sharing about their experiences, from positive all the way to just awful, where should we draw the line? How should we draw the line? And who should be the one to draw that line? That's the question. When all else fails, stay ready, stay petty. Class dismissed. Swoop!